Compassion International have been involved in Haiti for a number of years. In fact, they have really made it a special focus, certainly out of North America at least. And they've got about 65,000 children under their care. Barry Slauenwhite is the president of Compassion Canada. He's been on Huntley Street before. He's not a stranger to most of you. But he was caught really between a rock and a hard place. Welcome, Barry.
Thank you, Jim.
You had just arrived with a group of pastors. You were on your way to the Montana Hotel, which collapsed.
Yes, we were registered there, and if we had not been delayed at the airport about 15 minutes, we would have been in the building when it went down.
Now, tell me what happened. You're in the bus. What happened?
We're taking a shortcut through the city because at that time of day it's crowded, and we were hoping to get through before dark. And we were going through this little back narrow street, and all of a sudden the bus began to heave sideways back and forth violently. I thought we were going to tip over. At that point, still thought it was a dirt, the rough road, right? And then a cement block wall to the left of us collapsed right up against the bus, and everything around us began to fall, and we realized we are in the midst of a powerful earthquake.
So what happened then? Did you get stuck in it, or did you continue to proceed? Where did you go from there?
We were stuck a bit. There was debris in front of us. There were vehicles that collided behind us. We eventually got through the debris and made the trek through the streets out to the main boulevard called Delma. We were actually trying to get to our Compassion office. That should have taken about 12-15 minutes. It took us 3 hours. And darkness fell just shortly after the quake. And
what was happening around you? Were people panicking? You could tell right away this was a great human tragedy.
Exactly. People came out into the streets for safety. The streets jammed with people, one of the reasons why it took so long to get through. There was a mixture of people in hysterics. Some people were just jumping up and down, holding on to their head or the parts of their body. Other people were bringing people out into the street that were people who obviously were hurt badly. There were dead bodies along the street everywhere. But interesting enough, as we worked our way through the crowd, you could pick out the Christians. There were groups of Christians. I remember vividly in one intersection, there were this group of Christians holding each other in a circle and singing a hymn and praising God. And every now and again, you met Christians praising God amongst those that were voodoo, those that were hysterical, those that were just numbed.
Huh. Oh, this is surreal. I mean,
Absolutely.
It's almost like you'd been dropped into the pit of hell. Yeah. You've got some pictures, Barry. Walk me through these pictures.
This is right beside our bus. This is one of the first buildings we saw. It's a school that collapsed, and then another shot of it there. And then, the extent of it. At that point, I was hoping it was just our street, but then we realized it was the whole city.
Now, here you're at the embassy, right?
Here we're at the embassy, and there's Marilyn Raymer, who you just saw. Right. Her and I met. We didn't realize we've known each other since I was 20 years old.
Really?
We met at the embassy.
Now, was she one of the nurses that was in that nursing team?
Yes, exactly.
So this nursing team that lost one of their precious members were on the same plane as you were?
They didn't get on that same plane. They came on the next one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I mean, in terms of arriving, when they arrived?
I'm not sure if they were on our plane. There were two planes arriving at the same time.
Okay.
Yes.
And here's the Hercules that took you back to Canada?
Yeah, we went over to the Dominican and then back to Canada, and I started doing interviews. Everybody was calling me on my cell phone, wanting to know if we're safe, what the condition of the...
Now, it's got to be very uncomfortable and noisy riding on a Hercules.
You can see there, I sat on a box all the way home. These are two pastors from Alberta that was on our team, Pastor Brent and Ralph. It was noisy, it was uncomfortable, but it felt like heaven. You
were impressed with the treatment you got both from the embassy and the Canadian military.
I wouldn't have expected that, Jim. I would have expected cordiality, but they treated us wonderful. The guys on the plane, the military people, were absolutely a joy to work with. They were so kind, they were so outgoing, and couldn't do enough for us.
Now tell me about Compassion and the work that you have been doing, you are doing, and you will do in Haiti.
Yeah, we've been there 40 years, Jim. We have built an amazing network of 230 churches in Haiti. Compassion, as you know, is a church-based ministry. Right. We work exclusively with the local church. We have 65,000 children in Haiti, many of them in the Port-au-Prince area, some 20,000 of them. And we were mobilized because we are 100% nationalized. All of our staff in Haiti, we have about 1,000 staff in Haiti, plus several thousand volunteers, all Haitian. So they went into action within hours after the earthquake. We didn't have to parachute in any people. They were there on the ground. and they began to help. We then mobilized our organization next door in Dominican Republic, Compassion there. They joined. We got a big warehouse on the border. We began to fill that from the DR, and then trucks coming in from that warehouse strategically into the projects, using our church partners as staging areas and distribution points. It's so beautiful to see Haitians helping Haitians. Yeah. Not one of our people are going in there with a uniform or with a Compassion shirt. They're all Haitians helping Haitians, and we're resourcing them.
We got about 30 seconds. I have a sense that this could be the making of Haiti. This is its worst hour. Haiti has needed reinvention for years. Am I dreaming when I say that I think Haiti may develop out of this horror in a way it might never have developed otherwise?
I don't think you're dreaming. I think you're prophetic. I think this is exactly what's going to happen, and this is what we need to be praying for as Christians.
Well, with Compassion there and so many other NGOs, which we'll be featuring here in a moment, we see the body of Christ at work. Barry Slauenwhite is a Canadian champion in Haiti. So many others you'll hear from. And friends, you're seeing the websites of the various ministries that we are interviewing today, and we want you to know you feel connected with them. Boy, support them for sure. If you want to help Haiti through Crossroads, our coordinates are there. And remember, friends, that it's best, just in terms of efficiency, if you have access to the internet, to donate through the internet, simply to free up phone lines for those who don't have internet access. Otherwise, we'll end up with a real backlog of calls, and you'll be frustrated. So keep that in mind as you support. Thanks for coming our way, Barry, and I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I look forward to hearing reports when you go back.